Hello, everyone. The latest version of Power Virtual Agent, which was announced during the Build conference, now allows you to connect to Azure Custom Language Understanding Model, or CLU, as the default NLU engine for your PBA chatbot. Previously, you could still do this using a CLU connector via Power Automate, but now this feature natively embeds CLU within PVA. This feature is going to be very helpful for our clients in two scenarios. Scenario one would be where you already have a trained CLU model where you have created different entities and defined different intents, and you would like to leverage that as part of your chatbot. And then scenario two would be complex use cases where you are trying to create multiple custom entities, or you are trying to handle multiple intents or overlapping intents using things like confidence score. For these kind of edge case scenarios, using the CLU model would be very helpful when you're designing your chatbot. So in this video, I will show you how you can set up CLU model as your primary NLU engine for your PVA chatbot. We have three key steps to do that, to start using Azure CLU model as the default NLU engine for PVA. Step one is to set up a CLU project with completed deployment. Step two is creating a connection in Power Platform so that your PVA chatbot can access the CLU model. And then the final step is setting the CLU model as the primary NLU engine and completing the entity mapping based on the information you're trying to extract. So for step one, I will assume you know how to set up a CLU project within Azure Language Studio. For this demo, I have already created a project that has two intents defined. So I have flight booking as my first intent, and then I have payments as my second intent. For flight booking intent, I want to extract the source, destination, and the travel date as entities. So here you can see I have three learned entities. So learned entities would be when I have trained the model based on tagging that I have done on users utterance. So I have to complete the tagging so that the model can learn and identify these three entities or this information from the user's utterance. Coming back to payments, this is a entity of type list. So what that means is I've already defined a list that contains banking products. So in this case, you can see, for example, if I'm looking at this utterance here, auto loan would be the banking product. Same way in this case, mortgage would be the banking product, or student loan would be the banking product that would be extracted when user provides an utterance. So the first step here, once you have your intents created, is providing test data. So you can see here I have provided sample utterances where I have done the tagging so that I can test and make sure that the information or entities are getting extracted correctly. Once you do that, you have to start the training by clicking on Start Training Job. Once the training is complete, the next step is to deploy the model. So this is the deployment. You click on Add Deployment and create a new deployment. You can also look at the model's performance based on the testing you have done, just to verify everything looks accurate before you move on. So once you have the deployment completed, you can come back to this and also test here to make sure the information is getting extracted correctly. For example, if I provide an utterance which says pay my student loan and I run the test, you can see that the model is now able to extract payments as the intent with 92.34% confidence. And the entity extracted was student loan, which is the banking product. So now that I know this is working correctly, I can move on to step number 2, which is going to be setting up the connection for Power Platform. So in this case, we are setting up a new connection in Power Platform. So you go to make.powerapps.com, go to connections, and create a new connection for Azure Cognitive Service for language. And for this, you would need the API key and also the site URL. So let me just show you how you can find that information. So if you go back to your Azure Language Studio and go to the resource group, you'll find the key and the endpoint here. So once you have that information, you can set up the connection, and this would allow your PBA to connect to your model using this connection. Now that we have completed step 2, the final step is changing the default NLU engine to CLUs. And you can do that by clicking on language. Once you click on language, you should see the project that you have created here. You select the project and then you start mapping the intents and entities. So for this demo, I will do a bulk upload. The easiest way to do the mapping for your entities is by downloading the model data. Let me just show you how you can download that. If you go back to your Azure Language Studio, and if you look at the model performance, you can select this and just click on export model data. So this would basically provide you with model definition and in a JSON format. So I've already done that. I have a file. So let me upload that file here. So this is the JSON file. I'm going to upload this here, and you can see it has all the information or metadata related to my model that I have created. So you can see different intents that are defined and different entities that are created within the model. I'll click next. On this step, I can map the CLU intent to an existing PVA topic. So these are all the existing topics that I have for this bot, and I can just map the intent to one of these existing topics. Or if you want to create new topics, you can click on next and then define new topics for your CLU intents. Once that's done, it will show you all the entities that needs to be created. You just choose the right data type based on the entity that you have within your model, and then finally review and submit. I've already completed this step, so I'm not going to repeat this. So in this case, once that's done, and once you have set up the NLU engine, you can come back to topic. And what it's going to do is it will create a new system topic called analyze text. And what this topic does is basically uses the connection that we have set up and passes the user utterance to the CLU model and provides the result back, which is in JSON format. And then depending on your use case, you can extract the entity along with the right intent. So let me just test this, and I will say show I want to pay my mortgage, and you can see what the bot is going to do is basically redirect it to this analyze text topic, and it will identify the intent along with the entity extracted. So you can see the top intent in this case is payments, and the entity extracted was mortgage, which is one of the banking products that I want to extract. Same way, if I type book me a flight from Dallas to Chicago on Jan 12th, you can see the CLU model will identify the top intent as flight booking, along with the source and destination for my flight and the travel date information. So this way you can easily use the CLU model that you have created to handle scenarios where you might have overlapping intents or multiple intents, and also extract complex entity information. I hope this video was helpful. Thanks for watching.